Hi, I am Shan, an economics reporter at the Los Angeles Times. I have here with me Ricardo Lopez, a fellow economics reporter, and we are here today talking about the new financial realities facing married same-sex couples following the landmark Supreme Court decisions on Wednesday expanding rights to same-sex couples who are married. We are going to start out talking about federal income taxes, go on to healthcare, Social Security, and conclude with estate tax. So on federal income taxes, Ricardo, what can married same-sex couples expect now?
Sure. Well, basically, the most obvious reality is that now same-sex couples will be able to file joint federal tax returns. The IRS today issued a statement saying that they're working with the Treasury Department and will try to expedite guidance that will provide more clarity for how they will be processing tax returns for same-sex couples. Mm-hmm. Currently, in states where gay couples could get married, they would have to file a joint tax return for the state, but things got complicated when they would file for a federal tax return, which would have to be separate. So that's one thing that gay couples will now be able to do after the DOMA ruling yesterday.
Got it. And on healthcare then, previously, even in a state like California, where at least at one point gay marriage was allowed, companies, people who worked for companies that extended healthcare benefits to their same-sex spouse still had to pay income taxes, or still had to pay taxes on that coverage. So now one of the benefits, or immediate obvious benefits, would be they no longer have to pay taxes on that coverage, which could potentially save them thousands and thousands of dollars. And as soon as the ruling came down, I'm sure there were many companies all over the country figuring out tweaking their computer programs on healthcare coverage.
Right, absolutely. And you're right. It is very complicated. They have to sort these things out because the ruling still is unclear. I believe that the Department of Justice is still trying to figure out how DOMA is going to apply in states. Because as you remember yesterday with the ruling, while DOMA, a key part of DOMA was struck down, the part where states that currently have same-sex marriage bans, those were not touched. So in states like, in other states that still ban same-sex marriage, mm-hmm. there's still complications that gay couples can expect, and until we have further clarity from the federal government on that.
So it's important to note right now that following one of the rulings yesterday from the Supreme Court, now we have 13 states that legally recognize gay marriage, including, and also Washington, D.C., but we still have 37 states that do not, and it could get complicated from there.
Exactly.
And what about Social Security?
In terms of Social Security, in the past, before the rulings yesterday, gay couples were not legally entitled to, Social Security benefits of their spouse. It's a right that married straight couples have long had, where for example, if a person in a marriage earns more money, you can opt to get that person's Social Security benefits when they pass away. So now, same-sex couples will also be able to receive Social Security benefits.
I thought another wrinkle in it was that the Social Security Administration usually looks to a state to determine whether a couple is legally married. So that's another wrinkle in there possibly that the Congress or the Obama administration has to work out in some way.
Absolutely.
Before we know for sure.
Right, and that's what's being reviewed at the moment is because as you mentioned, when the federal government determines these types of benefits, they always turn to the states because they're the ones who issue marriage licenses and they're the ones who determine whether a couple is married or not. Mm-hmm. And so minus that guidance, the federal government is still trying to figure out how to implement all this.
Right, and lastly, we'll go on to estate tax, which was at the heart of the defense of marriage case that went before the Supreme Court. Basically, this woman, Edith Windsor in New York, she married her partner of many years in 2007 in Canada. Partner passed away in 2009. She inherited her property and still had to pay over $300,000 in federal in taxes, which she would not have done if her partner was a man. Mm-hmm. So now what's going on with estate taxes?
Well, now essentially, in Edith Windsor's case, the ruling gives her a nice, refund plus interest from the time that she's paid that. So same-sex couples, like I said, once they're married, they can inherit property after a person dies, or their gift taxes. For example, if you transfer property or money between two living spouses, will no longer be subjected to taxes by the federal government. And in many ways, what this ruling will do is simplify all these finances for gay couples who've long had to rely on tax specialists, and their attorneys in divorce proceedings, for example, would have to spend a lot of time finding creative and legal ways to divvy up assets or move property and money.
Got it. Well, thank you, Ricardo. This has been very interesting. For more news on this topic and other business news, go to latimes.com/business.